Swanzey Fire Department, and this is Swanzey Now. Today we're going to talk about our equipment, our gear, some of the stuff we use on the trucks, and a little bit about the building. What we have here is all our gear locker areas. The guys keep their coats, cans, hats, helmets, extra boots, personal items in here, and when they need them, we're all lined up in the right spots to get it. When we go out, we have roughly 1,000 calls a year. So the guys, if they go out on a fire, they do get their gear soiled, they come back here, we grab a second set of gear that typically most of the guys have a spare. We send the stuff out, we wash it as best we can, we hose it off here as best we can to get most of the bulk of the soot and fire off of them. And so then we wash the gear, let it dry, air dry. We can't put it in a conventional dryer because it degrades the fire protection that's built into this gear. One of the things we're going to have in our new station when it's built is large enough area for everyone to have a gear just like this, open, it's going to be able to dry, but we're also purchasing a gear extractor. That extractor is going to better wash our gear, make it last longer, and with that, an area to dry it, so that we can have a place that's not out in the apparatus bay, not getting the exhaust blown back onto it when it dries. The guys, when they come in through our main exit, the only entrance and exit that we have. They get into their gear, dress out, and onto the trucks. Typically, one of the people drive the truck. They're starting this truck, getting it warmed up. The exhaust is right here on the side. It's blowing on them. It's only a few minutes, but the carcinogens that are in that exhaust are still entering themselves and all the gear that's here. And with that, the exhaust that comes out here, we're in the basement of Town Hall. All the exhaust, it's an old building, it permeates upstairs. The ladies upstairs say they constantly, anytime the trucks start, that they can smell the exhaust. So they're getting exposed to it as well. So in the new station, we're proposing a new exhaust system that will draw out the truck's exhaust, so that not all of it right now, as it goes, blows right onto the guy's gear. So that exhaust will be drawn up a tube, exhausted to the outside. This is our main entrance and exit, the only entrance and exit that we have. This is where the guys come through, and when we talk about any kind of rainwater that gets into the building, it doesn't come through the garage doors or this main door. It comes through the front wall of the building and through the step down and in onto the floor here. Down behind the gear, the racks that the guys have. And water comes down behind the racks that we have here, out onto the floor, so it's eventually saturating items behind here. We have, again, all your gear, coats, hats, boots, helmets, gloves, and then we're on the trucks. The rest of our equipment is on the truck. Each cabinet space is set up for different items. This back department space is set up for chimney and speedy dry, car accident items. We go up to the next cabinet, it's set up with some medical equipment and some of our hand tools. And again, this is why we are in such a tight area. We can't fully open the doors to get it out right here. And then we come up to the cab of the truck. We can house 4 firemen in the back, an officer in the front, and a driver. Their SCBAs, any other extra equipment, medical gloves are in back here, in clean area, flashlights, radios, thermal imaging camera are all housed up here in the cab. So we have our SCBA, which is what we use for going into a smoky condition. It's just ambient air. It is filtered and dry, so we're not breathing any kind of toxins. Goes on just like a backpack. Some of the benefits to the new building are going to be an adequate working space. Right now, when we back this truck in, it's backed into a certain point that we know we can get certain doors open. We can open the doors so the guys can get in the trucks. The officer's door, same way, he can get into the truck. But if we had to get anything out of some of these side compartments, as we open the doors, they start to hit with these poles. With the new building that we're proposing, we'll have not only adequate space, we'll have space to put our equipment away, we'll have space to decon our equipment in the proper places, and better entrance and exits, multiple entrances and exits, not just the one that we have right now. So we have obviously 5 boroughs in town. We have 3 fire stations that cover those. We all work as one, and some of the obstacles that we do have, as you all know, we all have some really beautiful covered bridges. We can't drive these trucks across those covered bridges. So sometimes it takes us a few minutes to get around different areas. That's why we need these stations in strategic places. We're all one group, and we do have to maneuver around town, and because of some of the covered bridges, it takes a little while for us to get around these. That's why we need 3 strategic fire stations to get into these areas, and so we're adequately covered. These buildings were built in the 30s. This one was built in the 60s, and the other ones were built before that, and they're all built to smaller vehicles. Well, our fire trucks are getting larger. We're now to the point that we have to purchase special sized vehicles so that they fit in our areas. With the building of a new station, we'll have larger doors, larger area. We won't have to have so much custom built for size of the vehicle. The new building is designed to have drive-through bays, or at least back in from multiple sides. So when we back in, the doors will be wider. These doors here are 12 feet. We're looking at a 14-foot door. More space, less room, less room for error, if I say that right. This third bay in this station is one of the hardest bays to back in due to the outside retaining wall. The outside retaining wall gives you goes off at an angle, and it gives you a false sense of how you're backing in. So typically the guys will back this truck in crooked. And as you pull out, that makes a difference as you're driving out of the bays. This is where we store a lot of our spare gear, if you will. So when new firemen come on, we try to go through this, size them up appropriately. Helmets, pants, coats. Some of the stuff is hanging, which is a benefit. Some of it we have stored on racks. In the new building, we've designed a little bit larger area. I think a better storage area. Better to get into, better to put storage up, better to put hanging items to be hung. And this room is just a little tight. And unfortunately, when it rains, the water comes through our wall here, comes through this floor, out through the next wall, and out onto the apparatus bay. So everything here has to be up off the ground. Unfortunately, we have no place to store, so we store our boots on the ground, and we do the best we can. So here we are on the outside. These are our 3 bay doors for each of the pieces of equipment. Our 1 main entrance and exit, and our other additional storage that we store extra hose, some speedy dry, some fuel, and it houses our generator for the town hall. Yeah, so unfortunately this wall really needs to be repaired. It's something that's been on the radar to get fixed. It just hasn't crumbled enough yet to do so. But I believe this year is going to. It's going to have to be forced to be fixed. 5 years with a crack in the cement block, and unfortunately we slowly watched it move, and I think this last year has probably moved the most due to frost and weather. So here we are in our training area, if you will, for this station. We try to get a lot of our fire trainings done in here. We do some of our EMS trainings in here. This is the largest room we have to do training. We have a television. We can hook our laptops up through it. We can utilize that. We also have our area for doing any kind of fire reports, any medical reports are all done right here. And the guys keep a daily log of what we do as well. Part of our trainings here, we do a monthly training for fire. We have a different day we do monthly trainings for EMS. And we have a full department meeting every month, so everybody's getting all the information that we need to share. Yeah, we have approximately 40 members on our department. We're spread out. This is a larger group in here. There's about 20 people in this station. There's another 15 or so in Station 3 and 8 or 10 in Station 1. I'm Eric Matson. Thank you for taking this tour with me here at the Swanzey Center Fire Station, underneath Town Hall. If you need to get a hold of us for anything, you want to learn more about the building, you want to learn more about firefighting, our email is on the town's website. Please feel free to email myself or Mike Brantley. Thank you.
Well, hi, I'm Jody Turner, and this is Swanzey Now. We have Mike Brantley, the town administrator, here today, and we want to talk a little bit about the video that you just saw. And I think Eric did a great job. Eric Matson is the interim fire chief for the town of Swanzey.
Yeah, thank you, Jody. Eric did a great job summarizing some of the issues with the existing Station Number 2 in the basement of Town Hall.
Right.
We've done a number of shows that have focused on what's being proposed in the new station that the town is proposing at this year's town meeting. So we're not going to get into all those details, but I think Eric did a great job highlighting some of the issues with that existing station.
Right. And a lot of the issues are safety, and health issues.
Right.
Because a lot of the stations were built way long ago. This one was built in like the mid-60s or so. Mm-hmm. But think about it. That's a long time ago. That's like 60 years ago.
Right.
And so things were a lot different back then than they are now.
Largely done by volunteers or folks just on kind of off time.
Right.
So yeah, they've come a long way. Our understanding of fire stations and kind of the health risks in firefighting have come a long way. So really what's being proposed is just to get the fire department out of the basement of Town Hall and get them into a clean, safe, but reasonably sized station.
Right. And how many people out there actually knew that we have a fire station in the bottom of our town hall? There's a lot of people that may just go about things day to day, and maybe they saw a fire truck out there, but they didn't realize that is where one of our stations is, Station Number 2.
Or maybe you were in Town Hall and felt a rumbling and thought it might be an earthquake or something.
Or smoke coming up.
But it's really just the garage doors opening or the exhaust coming up from downstairs. So really it's an important issue that the selectmen and the community have really identified as a priority, and we hope this year's the year that the voters feel this is a plan they can support.
Right. So let's go back a little bit, because some people may not realize that you folks have been working on getting a new fire station for a long time. And it seems like it's almost 30 years that they've been talking about it. And then about 20 years since they've really gotten into this thing. And then 2018, you folks started getting some plans together?
Yeah, so like I said, we talked about a good amount of kind of the history in the last one of the last shows. So I don't know if we want to go through all that, but yeah, definitely since the 1990s, the town's been looking for different properties to get the fire department out of the basement. More recently, there have been a few plans that have been voted on by the public. We tried to take a different process this year and focused on bringing the public in from the beginning. I know you were at some of those meetings, Jody, and just trying to develop a plan that the public felt acceptable, that they were involved at all levels on.
Right.
And so hopefully things will be different this year.
Yeah, and I think that really makes a difference. I know that a lot of you may not have had a chance to go to some of the meetings, but it's not too late. We've gone through the budget hearing already. The deliberative session is on February 4th. If you get a chance to go to that, or if you've already gone by this, then that's fine too. But voting, March 10th is the voting day, and we really need to get people out to come out and say, do you want this or not? And it's, to me, it's really important that we make a decision, because it's been a long time coming. And the longer that we wait, the more things that are going to pop up. And there's never going to be the perfect decision and everybody is going to be on board. But if we can have a majority of people on board, that would be really great. How many people, or what's the percentage that we need to have for the vote?
So it's a bond issue, so it would need 60% voter support.
Yep. So please get out there and vote. Let's see, the new building, the proposed new building is on Old Homestead Highway.
Right.
And let's see, it's got many zones, it's got ways to come in. I mean, they've thought about everything, even the materials that, the building is going to be built with, the hot area, the cool area, or the
warm zone, hot zone, warm zone, and cold zone.
Yeah. So those are certain areas where the firemen will be, or the trucks will be, or the public will be, so that things aren't all mixed and matched and thrown together. So they've really done some.
Yeah, especially separating some of those contaminants that Eric was mentioning, both on the gear of the firefighters coming out of the trucks. So that's where that hot zone is, where the fire department is more focused, where their gear and where more of the contaminants are likely to be. And then the warm zone is where the trucks would be. So the exhaust treatment system that Eric was mentioning, and then the cold zone would be segmented off from that. So hopefully folks that just come in to get a fire permit or meet with the fire department about a proposed building, that they're not exposed to those hazards.
Right. And another thing that we want to remind people is that they're not closing 1, 2, and 3 for the fire stations. 1 and 3, West Swanzey and East Swanzey, will still stay open.
That's correct.
And they will have their trucks there. So we really need 3 different areas, because we do have the covered bridges. And Swanzey is huge. I mean, really, when you think of it, we have as much area as Keene.
I think slightly bigger than Keene, yeah.
And we have a third of the people,
Right.
Living here. I mean, we've got to make some good decisions, but we've got to really think about our future here in Swanzey, because it's not getting smaller. Swanzey's a great place to live. We're getting a few more houses built here and there. A lot of the expansion, it's not there quite yet, but there's things that are in the planning. So we've got to look at that.
Lower taxes than Keene, and a lot of our neighboring communities.
Yeah,
so.
and I like the fact that the selectmen are really trying to keep the tax rate down. Yeah. So let's see, we have the deliberative session coming up. We have voting. If anybody is interested in, when you're watching this, it may have already gone by, but there are a few deadlines. If you need to register to vote, please do so. Let's see, you probably know this off the top of your head, but registering to vote, I think you have until January 31st.
So that's to sign up to run for elected office.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And so
Okay.
if you're not already signed up as a registered voter and you want to sign up for elected office, I think that's that first deadline.
Oh,
you have.
okay, January 31st.
And then to sign up for elected office is by January 31st. I know you have that list. So some of the offices that are up for election this year are moderator, selectman, planning board, zoning board, trustees of trust funds, sewer commission, trustees on both of our libraries, Mount Caesar and Stratton Free Library. So there's a number of different opportunities. Throughout the year, there's opportunities to serve on appointed committees if you don't want to run for office necessarily, but are interested in getting involved. Number of different areas between items associated with natural resources or budgeting or different things. If you have some skills and some time, we'd like to put you to work. So
yeah. And so some of the other, let's see, this is a whole list. Now this stuff is all on the Swanzey town website.
Right.
So, and the website is www.swanzeyNH.gov.
Right,
So
and that's a new website.
www.swanzeynh.gov, and they have all kinds of information there. So if you're looking for information as to some of those groups or how to get involved, please go there. So some of the other things, the list that they have there for some of the government committees are the Board of Selectmen, Capital Improvement Program Committee, Conservation Commission, Economic Development Advisory Committee, Planning Board, Rail Trails. That's incredible. I can't believe they've got an $800,000 thing coming up for the rail trails.
Big project.
Yeah. Recreation Advisory Committee, Trustees of Trust Funds, Wickham Hall Committee, and the Zoning Board of Adjustments. So there's pretty much something for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'm just learning. I have to admit, I have lived in Swanzey for 10 to 12 years. And this is my first year that I am getting involved, just watching right now, because I've never been to town meetings and I've never been to selectmen meetings. I'm learning a lot as I go.
And having a lot of fun.
Yes, but I really am learning a lot. And one of the reasons that I wanted to go, and that's why I encourage you to go to some of these meetings as well, is just to understand how the town works. You know, like, Michael, you do this every day, but we do our job every day.
Right.
You don't think about our job, and we don't think about your job. But it all ties in, because if you're doing a good job, and the selectmen are doing their job, and all the committees are doing well, then we're all working together as one town. What is 5 boroughs and one
5 villages, 1 community.
5
yeah.
villages, 1 community. Yes, and so I think that's what I see with the town of Swanzey, is that we are really working together. The other night I was at a selectmen meeting, and one of the gentlemen that was there was adamant about what he wanted to see done, and I was really impressed because the town had already thought about it. So, you know, we're being proactive, we're thinking about things, and we're looking towards the future. Some of the other gentlemen that are at some of the selectmen meetings, besides the selectmen, which are Sly,
Bill and Ken.
right?
Oh, you
I
looking for
wasn't
last
the last names.
Oh, Sly Karazinski, Bill Hutwelker, and Ken Colby.
Right. And then they have a secretary, and then Michael is always there. They also have a couple of other people, Matt
Buckler, the
Buckler.
planning director. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
and
often
then
there.
and Mike Jasmine is
Jasmine's
usually
often
there.
there, yeah.
So, you know, if you have questions or things that are coming up, it really makes me feel good that these people are taking the time to be at these meetings so that the answers can get made right there.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're going to these meetings and you have to table things to the next meeting, it might be just a week, but that's a long time when you're trying to get answers to, you know, things that are coming up.
Yeah, and that's why certainly we like to welcome people to come to the meetings, and that's important. But we also, you know, encourage people, hey, just reach out to me or Glenn Smith, our DPW director, if it's a road issue, or the code enforcement officer, Mike Jasmine. A lot of times we can solve your problem right there versus going to a meeting and then having to, you know, they're just going to tell us to solve the problem anyway, usually. So,
Exactly.
you know, if you just want to reach out to us, often we can at least answer your question. You might not like the answer, but answer your question and hopefully resolve it in a positive way.
Right, and that's true. I mean, you don't have to
Right.
have everything go to a meeting, but it is an education, and I would encourage it, because I've only been to maybe a half a dozen meetings so far, but I've learned a lot so far. So one thing I do want to mention also is there is a bunch of construction coming up, or proposed construction.
Road construction,
Road
yep.
construction. And so some of the meetings, the selectmen meetings, are going to be at Whitcomb Hall. That's in West Swansea. And the dates that they're going to be in West Swansea are January 29th.
So that one's on Pine Street. The subject is reconstructing Pine Street,
Mm-hmm.
and then later that night at 6:30 we have East Shore Road, which is one of the roads that goes around Swansea Lake. So we're looking at reconstructing the paved portion of that road. On February 12th, we're looking at Holbrook and Woodale Avenues. So that's Holbrook is also known as Homestead Avenue. That name was changed a few years ago. So all those start at 6 o'clock, with the exception of East Shore Road, which is at 6:30. And then on February 19th, we have at 6 o'clock at Whitcomb Hall, South Winchester Street, West Street, and Swansea Street, all those projects.
So those meetings, are they starting at 5:30 and then it goes to 6?
Correct. So
Okay.
the meeting starts at 5:30, but that subject starts at 6:30.
Right, and they go right on time, from what I've seen. I mean,
Pretty
if
good.
things aren't ready or we can't do certain things, that they'll go to something else, but it goes pretty quick. You know, the meeting, they don't waste a lot of time, you know,
With anything.
no. So if you're supposed to be there at 5:35, you want to make sure that you're there at 5:35
You run
or
a tight
before.
meeting.
Yeah, yeah. But that's good. Everything's on time.
Right.
Yeah. So 5:30 for the selectmen meetings. Most of this information is on the website. So again, it's www.swanzeynh.gov. And I would encourage you to go on to their site and just browse it. It's a brand new site. They have brand new emails as well. So for Michael, it would be mbranley@swanzeynh.gov. And that's how it goes for most of the people that are administrative for the town of Swansea. So, okay, so we've just got another minute or so. What else, Michael? And then we've got more shows, so please do watch the other shows.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, we have a number of different shows. So we talked about, what is the budget hearing, what is a deliberative session. So as you mentioned, that's coming up on February 4th at the Monadnock School District Auditorium at 7 o'clock. So that's folks' opportunity to make motions on the various articles that are on the warrant. So another opportunity to hear some more information and be involved in your government, your town government.
Yeah, because it really does, it is very important for people to spend some time and learn a little bit about their, I mean, it makes it very easy for you guys to make all the decisions, and we just go along. But if you have concerns or if you have questions, you can always contact Michael or whoever it is that you need to talk to at the town offices and get a few answers and know where to start. Because if you do have something that needs to go on for the selectmen meetings, you need to know that ahead of time. You don't just show up. I mean, there are things that they can do for public, but most of the things need to be on the agenda.
Right. No, and that's a great point. We don't have a ton of people that come regularly to the meetings. We do have a few. Jody's joining the list, but we often, we make decisions with the best information we have in front of us. So if no one's there making a case for one way or the other, we just have to make the best, again, with the information we have. So we don't like to make decisions in a vacuum if we don't have to. So certainly either come in or shoot me an email and let me know what you think. Our agendas are online. The board minutes, meeting minutes are online. A lot of information is on that swanseanh.gov website.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us for Swansea Now, and we hope that you'll tune in again. We've got lots of information to share, and we hope this is helpful. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.